Hey there, friend. Welcome back to the Doing What Matters podcast. It is great to be back with you and just diving in to this series that we've been in on the 7 P's of business. We're actually to number 6 today. And I have been traveling the last week or so and had done some of the podcast episodes ahead of time and just have re-listened back through. And I'm really loving this series. I'm loving sharing with you just this easy, I don't want to say easy as in easy to do, but this easy business model that you can use as a reference and a framework to grow your business. I've been teaching this model for probably 2 or 3 years now, just taking what I've learned and simplifying it down to say, if you pay attention to these 7 P's that we're going through in these podcasts, in this series, that you can really begin to build a solid foundation. I have done it for myself in my own business, and I've done it with countless entrepreneurs in their businesses as well. And we're just touching the basics of these in this series. You could dive so much deeper into this and into each one of those, which is what a lot of what I do in the coaching that I have in my SheEO, Real Life SheEO program, which is for women business owners that I have, in the masterminds that I lead, in the coaches community, the network that we have. In all the places that I show up, I'm using these 7 P's to help people grow sustainable businesses that don't feel like they're in overwhelm, just by looking at these 7 P's over and over. So today we're going to dive into number 6, which is problems. How do I handle problems in my business? I'm going to give you a short little method on how to do that, but a couple of things I want to share with you before we dive into the content today. One is something that I have coming up. Now, this is timely, so if you're listening a little bit later, I apologize that this will have already happened, but I am offering a masterclass for coaches specifically that are building coaching businesses, and we are offering a masterclass on July the 8th of 2024. The easiest way to find out all that information, it's absolutely free, is to go to our website at thereallifeprocess.com. It's right there at the top of the website, and you can sign up. It's late afternoon is when the masterclass will take place. And I'm bringing 2 of my friends that actually work here on our team as contractors with us. One of my good friends, Erica Vinson, who is a master coach with us, is going to be coming on that free masterclass with me. And also Robbie Fowler, who is our chief marketing officer here at the Real Life Process, and has just really helped me grow my business as a marketing branding specialist. So that's part of growing a business. So is the actual act of coaching and the growing of your marketing, as well as many of the things that I'll be bringing to that masterclass in content and framework and all of those types of things. So come hang out with us. We're going to talk about how to grow a coaching business without overwhelm and feeling like you're drowning in all the things to do. So go to the website, you can sign up for that. And as I have in each one of these episodes on the 7 P's of business, I have a download for you this week as well. And all you need to do is go to thereallifeprocess.com/problems with an S on the end. So thereallifeprocess.com/problems will get you the free download for this episode, as we have had each and every week in this series. Just go back over the last 7 episodes. We've actually been talking from these 7 P's of business. So you can go back, you can check all that out and get all of those downloads, put them all together. You'll have the whole entire 7 P's of business right there. So without further ado, let's dive in to today's content as we talk about problems. Now, I don't know about your business, but in my business, we always have problems. That doesn't mean that problems are a bad thing. So let's reframe that word. Problems actually lead us to a better solution. So many times our problems are in lots of different areas. Let me just bring this up. If you like to take in this content on the YouTube channel, you can actually see the handout and the download. But we can have problems in lots of different areas. We can have them around the processes that we created. We just talked about that on the episode last week or the week before about processes and getting processes that work in your business that are repeatable and how we outline those. Well, let's be honest. Sometimes we've set up a process and we need to change it, or the system doesn't quite work the way we wanted it to. That can be one area where you might have a problem. You might have a problem that comes up around a project that you've created, something that you've decided you're going to work on in the next 90 days, and you run into a roadblock and you need to take a pause and say, wait, we got to take a look at this. Maybe it's not going in the right direction, or whatever that might be. You might have people problems. We're going to talk about the 7th P of business next week, where we're going to talk about people. So we're not going to dive into that one as much on this episode, but let's be honest, we as human beings working with others, sometimes there are problems. There could be problems around clarity of their role. There could be problems around getting their work done on time, what you've asked them to do. There could be relational issues, conflict of personalities, lots of different things. We'll talk about that one more next week on the podcast, so make sure you come back for the 7th P, which is people. And then we can just have problems around the everyday, ordinary tasks that we are trying to complete. So I'm going to dive into a process that I have. Imagine that. I've created a process and just walk you through how do you problem solve a little bit around these things. And then what do you do once you have the problem solved in a way that you're now going to move forward and change it up? So I'll give you an example in some of the things that we've done here in my business as an entrepreneur. I have ran into countless problems in all of these areas. Many times, some of the biggest ones we have are around our processes. When a system is broke down and it's not working. And when we have that, what we do is we get up on the balcony, as I often say, and we brainstorm around the problem. And you want to get the right people in the room. If you are a solopreneur, this might be a method that you use with a coach or a mentor or someone's helping you. If you have someone specifically that's over that part of your business, if you have a virtual assistant or someone on your team that oversights that, you'll definitely want them to be in on the problem solving part of this. So what happens for us if we have a system that breaks down, I'll often get with that person on my team and I'll say, what can we do about this? What are some solutions that we come to? And what I often use is a mind map to start that and to walk through that. And we'll actually just start to mind map some things out on the board and look at what all the possibilities are. So here's what I'm going to take you through, these 5 steps of how you might solve a problem. So the first step is to define the problem. What is it? What are we working around? And what do we need to do? So define the problem. And what I do is I put that right in the center of the circle and say, here's the problem. The problem is that people aren't coming onto our email list correctly. The problem is that we are stopped in this project right at this step and we need to brainstorm around it. The problem is this person isn't getting their work done on time. The problem is whatever, fill in the blank, but put the problem in the center of the mind map. And I actually have provided one of these for you in your download. So be super easy to work through that problem and just think of something that you're going to brainstorm around and put it there. Then what you're going to do is, without any limits on how you would solve the problem, you might start to write into the circles around the problem what are possible solutions and what are possible actions. So there's no wrong answers at this point. It can be any type of solution, any type of answer. Don't let time or money or people on your team or anything limit what you might say is the solution or is the action that you need to take. So what you might have is things that are immediate action, like we have a problem, a system is actually broken and we need to put a Band-Aid on it, or we need to take some immediate action. Then you might brainstorm some long-term solutions. What are the resources that are needed? And what are some of the challenges that might come up? But don't limit your box when you're brainstorming at this point, because you want to see all the possibilities. That doesn't mean that all of them will be available to you with resources or, with team members or anything like that. But let's put them out there and let's say, what would be possible if we were to solve this problem at the highest ability that we have? I'll give you an example. Last year, when I purchased an extra tool that we brought into our business called One Life Maps, I actually knew at that point when we purchased that tool to bring into our business that we would probably have lots of problems that we would have to solve. And we have. And one of the biggest problems is redoing our whole entire website. So a year ago, I began to think and I began to brainstorm around the possibilities. We weren't able to implement that until 6 months later. We had to do some stopgap Band-Aid type measures along the way, a little bit at a time, until we got to 6 months ago when we started rebuilding a whole new entire website. Can't wait to tell you about it. It will be launching soon. But that's what I mean by you may not always have the resources, the manpower, the needs to solve the problem the way you would like, but go ahead and get up on the balcony and brainstorm and see what's possible if you were to solve that problem at the highest level, and then bring it down to what's immediate and what you can do right now. That kind of leads us to step number 3, which is to organize and prioritize. So from this brainstorming session that you've done solo, or maybe with a coach or with someone on your team, now begin to prioritize and say, this is what we can do and probably what we need to do immediately to solve this problem. And what's feasible, how much time is required. You might start to group some things together that are in different circles and say, well, we could do this like tomorrow. We could do this in a week, those types of things. So you're starting to organize your thoughts and bring it down to actionable steps. And that's what step number 4 is, to now write out the actionable steps. Tomorrow we'll do this. Next week we'll do this. 2 weeks from now, we'll do this. And you begin to see that I can solve this problem within the next couple of weeks. Now, there are going to be problems that you can't solve that quickly, that you became aware of the problem, and it really is an entire project that you may need to work on over a 90-day period. It is bigger than, as I said, the website example that I gave you. I had to postpone that until just 6 months ago. So for 6 months, I knew that I had this problem. I was very aware of what we needed to do, but I needed to just wait it out till I had the time, money, and resources to actually go in and make it a project. Over the last 6 months, it's actually taken up 90 days to get to where we are to launch a brand new website. So you may have to break it up. You may have some problems that you can fix very quickly. And it's just like, oh, I just need to tweak this, or we need to do this, or we need to automate this. That will solve the problem. Or you may have things that are bigger problems that actually go on a project list for the next 90 days or maybe 6 months from now or whatever. So that's where step number 4, you're going to develop some action steps and decide, what can I do now and what do I need to do later, and make sure it stays on a list that you have somewhere so you don't forget that you have that problem. Many times I see small business owners come back around to the same problem and they forget, oh yeah, that was a problem back then. We still need to solve it. So make sure you have a running list of things like this. I also talk about problems when you have your team meetings, back on planning. These are things many times, depending on the growth and size of your company or your business, you may not be aware of the problem until a team member brings it to you. So make sure that you tie in your planning, in your team meetings that you're having either weekly or monthly, that there's a place for them to tell you about a problem. So you can either brainstorm it right then in the meeting, solve it really quickly, or you can add it to a bigger project list. And here's the most important step of problem solving is step number 5, is because many times we know the solution to the problem. We just haven't taken the time to fix it. The problem will not get fixed until you set a time on your calendar to work either on this little mini project. It might only take you an hour to solve the problem, or someone on your team an hour to solve the problem, or you put it into a project that you're going to use later. So either one works, but set a time on your calendar to solve that problem. So in the handout that I have for you, I actually have a copy of the mind map of the action steps so that you can go back through these 5 steps very easily. Most of the time, solving problems is actually something that is a mindset as much as anything. It feels overwhelming. It feels like it's too much. And many times the problems that we're solving are actually not as big as we make them out to be. So you may have to check in with your thoughts, check in with how you're feeling, and are you procrastinating around solving that problem? Could you hand it off to someone else as the CEO of your business? Do you, as a solopreneur, need to hire someone to help you solve that problem? A contractor that, if it's a bigger problem, could solve it for you much quicker with their expertise than you could. So handling problems is a part of any business. You're never going to be done with them. You're going to have problems around people. You're going to have problems around projects. You're going to have problems around your plan. All kinds of things are going to come up. Another way to reframe problem solving is that conflict helps you come to a resolution, and it helps you to build a stronger business and a stronger process, whether it's in sales, in marketing, whatever it is. So problems really help to grow our business if we can reframe them that way. And I wished I could tell you as a fellow business owner that problems are going to go away, but they are not. That means you're alive and you're moving forward in your business. So that's what we have today for problems. It's a whole deeper topic that we could talk all 7 episodes about, but that will give us enough to get started, to go on to reframe how you look at problems. And remember, come over and sign up for that masterclass that we have. Go to the website at thereallifeprocess.com. Download the free offer at thereallifeprocess.com/problem so you can go back through those 5 steps. Keep it handy to just walk yourself through problem solving. And remember, the biggest part is just getting it on your calendar to take time to solve the problem. Hey friends, it's been great to be with you this week. Hey friend, it's been great to be back with you this week on the podcast. And I just want to encourage you that you are doing things that matter so much to those that you serve in the work and the business that you do. So keep on keeping on, friends. I just want to encourage you in that. And remember that every ordinary day has an extraordinary moment. You just have to look for them. See you next week on the Doing What Matters podcast.